Hello everyone, welcome to our new episode from our TV show Unknown History. It's Basma Izzat and we have in the studio our weekly guest Mr. Ayhan Özcimbit for maybe 3 episodes before we talk about a lot of events in history. Not all of us had a lot of information about it, untold things we can say. So we talked about First World War and the role of Africa in this World War, Chanakala battle. We also talked about Sultan Fatih the Conquered, and we talked about Prophet Muhammad also, his life and his way in Dawah. So today we have Mr. Ayhan Özcimbit, is a researcher and historic. So welcome to our TV show, Mr. Ayhan.
Thank you.
Thank you to be with us today.
Thank you very much.
We have talked about Prophet Muhammad, his life. So today maybe we are going to talk about education in a perspective of religious history. Yeah, of course right. We are not a religious program, but we can talk about education methods in a religious perspective, we can say.
That's a very important point, because we Muslims, we don't know really exactly what happened in the Dar'ul Arqam, the first school of Islam and the first mosque of Islam, let's say, because it was a meeting.
Dar'ul Arqam means house of Arqam.
Yeah, when we translate into English, it is the house of Arqam.
What Arqams mean?
Arqam was the friend of Prophet Muhammad, and he was rich, and he bought a house on the top, at the top of Safa Hill. There is Safa Hill.
Yes, in Hajj.
Yeah, in the east of Kaaba.
Yes.
Where the sun rises up, you know. We also talked about the Kaaba's door is in the east. So the light comes from the east. In that direction, there is Safa Hill. Safa means thanking, to thank in
English.
In English, when we translate. And the house of Arqam, coincidentally, was on that hill. And it's and he had friends, about 40 friends, and those friends were coming together there and talking, and Prophet Muhammad was giving them the message of the God, and they were learning the message of the God.
Because first it was like a secret time.
That's right. They were secretly coming together in that house.
And Prophet Muhammad teach them and advise them maybe about
he
Islam.
Was giving advices from the Lord of the universe. Every time when the verses come, and he was giving this message to his friends. They were learning those messages in that house, and they were writing, because they didn't have paper, and they were writing everything on their clothes with the burnt wood, making pen-like, and they were trying
whatever
to learn
they find.
a very, very primitive way. But the most important thing is, when they learn something, they were trying to practice outside of that house. For instance, when God says, don't say pure, or don't say come on, like this, to your father, your parents, in a very rude way. Don't speak like that, the God was saying. And don't walk on the street proudly.
Yes.
And when they learn it,
be humble.
They were practicing, being humble. They were practicing this outside of that house. And Prophet Muhammad and also his friends, they were sitting on the ground. They didn't have any stage, they didn't have any table or chair. They were sitting and talking side by side. There is an incident how Abu Zar Ghifari, a man, he was the tribe of Ghifari. They were very famous of being thief. They were doing theft.
Yes, before becoming a Muslim, he was thief.
Yeah, he was stealing. They were attacking the caravans and taking the money and the belongings.
Yes.
And it was
His
strange.
Islamic story is very interesting.
Yeah, his story is very interesting, and also his story is important for the understanding education system of Islam, or faith history. And he found Ali, and he said, I want to see Prophet Muhammad. Will you please take me to him? Where he is. He said, okay, I'm going to take you to the house where we are coming together. Then they went to house
He
of
brought
Arqam.
him to Dar'ul Arqam.
Yeah, he brought him to Dar'ul Arqam.
But it was a secret place.
Yeah, he was secret, but he said he understood that he was sincere. Because those days, Arabs, especially traders, they knew who was sincere, who was not. Anyway, they went to house of Arqam, and he entered house, and they all sitting on the ground. The question was very important. He said, who is Muhammad among you? Who is Muhammad? He couldn't understand who was Muhammad.
Because they are equals.
Yeah, that is a very important point. That is what I meant, what I tried to explain. If you go any school today, any classroom, you can see who is the teacher.
Of course.
She has or he has a table and sitting at the corner, and then all the students sitting side by side. And you can see a hierarchy. Students, teacher, principal, the school manager, and
supervisors.
It's like, yeah. And if there is problem of the students, they go to principal, the school manager, and there is discipline committee or this kind of things. There is hierarchy, like pyramid. But the education system of Muhammad or Jesus Christ, when we look at their educative methods, they were behaving students equally. They were all equal, like the tooth of the comb. And that is very important point and the key point of learning also. Learning is in two ways. One of them learning of the scientific things, one of them is learning of some philosophic or religious things. This is also important point how we are going to look at and how we are going to learn. And the learning, today's learning method, mostly, especially Muslim countries, without questioning, just memorizing, repeating something, without questioning why,
without thinking,
what for, without thinking. Yeah, you can't question it, even in the universities. When you go to university also, you have to follow what the professor says.
No discussions.
You take no discussion. You're writing what it says. Even this kind of education system is the same in India. Also, there was a film about that, the questioning and also criticizing education system of India. Learning, but repeating something without questioning. But it is repeating something like robot here, but doesn't come here or doesn't go here.
Yes. And
the normal education system, and when we look at the Western universities, such as Harvard University or Western American universities, when you go to university, you can talk to the professor, or there is an open arena for asking things, why or what for, and discussing.
That's how we learn, actually.
Exactly. That is why the name of university comes from universe. So if we want to be really universal, if we want to have universal education, we must question everything. But unfortunately, in our countries, in many Islamic countries, when you have a party, if you are the member of the political party or if you are the member of the Jamaat, you can't question the leader. You
just follow.
He's the final. You're going to follow what he says. And if we remember the Prophet Muhammad's in the Badr war, in the war of Badr, he decided to camp, the military camp in an area. And one of the Muslim soldiers said, "Oh, Prophet Muhammad, is this your idea, having this camp here, or the God's idea? Did you get any message
an order from God, or is this your idea?"
He said, "No, it's my idea." He said, "Prophet, your idea is wrong," he said.
And it's okay to say it's wrong.
This is very important point and the key point. Please, I underline here, when our watchers must underline this part. Saying a prophet, your idea is wrong. It's very important.
And he accepted.
Yeah, he accepted. He said, "Okay, what is your idea?"
What do you think?
He said, we go to the better water wells. If we take all the water wells, we fulfill with the stones all the water well, just only one water well for our soldiers. If the enemy if the enemy has no water, they're going to lose the war very easily," he said.
Yes. And that's what happened.
He said, "Your idea is brilliant. Let's do it," he said. Then the Muslims and the Prophet Muhammad, they changed the camping area from that ordinary soldiers' ideas area. Imagine, please, any soldier giving an idea to the general staff of the army in any army of Muslim countries. It is impossible. That is why we do this program. The history of Islamic education was the questioning, thinking, and producing. Quran and all the holy books were generators. They were generating, producing something. Quran or Bible when we read. But Prophet Muhammad or Jesus Christ, they were moderators. They were delivering the energy of the holy books by living. Also, the friends of Jesus Christ, 12 apostles, or Prophet Muhammad's friends, they were doing the same moderating, delivering the energy of the book by living in their life. They were practicing this. And but how this kind of methodology stopped? That is very important.
That's what I want to ask you. Before going to Prophet Isa, the Prophet Jesus, in Islam we have like a golden age.
Yes.
If we can say. It was very successful period. How long this period still?
This period after Prophet Muhammad in Andalusia, when the Muslims went to Andalusia.
For trade?
After Prophet Muhammad's period, 250 years long, very good educative time those days. For instance, when we went to Andalusia, Spain, those days, and the Muslims were reading, and everyone, they were living together with the Christians, and those days Christians were not reading very much. And the Muslim students, they were they were very educated. They were going to schools, and if anyone who was carrying books, and the Christian people, they were saying, this is Muslim because he's reading.
Because he's reading.
Yeah, and I lived in Antalya, and the tourists, they were reading books on the beach. And the European tourists, the Western European tourists, they like reading very much.
Yes.
But the Eastern tourists, some Middle Eastern tourists, they were not reading. And so you can understand the difference. The
differences between them.
Yeah, the roles were changed really. And in Golden Age we were reading. Now the Western countries are reading.
We just follow
education level, even today, in the whole Islamic countries, the average education year is only 2. Only 2. 2 billion Muslims are living in the world, and each Muslim, when we deliver all the years and education years, and each person, average year of the education is only 2 years. That's very low.
Yes.
These rates, when we look at these rates in Christians, it's much more higher. Even Jews, they are reading very much. They
Yes.
have got very good high education. Even in the United States, the biggest universities such as Harvard and Massachusetts, when we look at the university students here, mostly Jews are going.
Yes.
And they like having education. The education is important for making the country to stronger. And in the golden age, we were stronger because of the knowledge, because we were producing, we were thinking. First robot was made by Al-Jazari, by a Muslim in Cizre city in the southeast of Turkey. He
Cizre
was
city.
Al-Jazari. Al-Jazari is the scientist. He made robot, and Leonardo da Vinci, he liked him very much. He copied him in some ways, really, because algorithm mentality comes from Muslims. Al-Khawarizmi. He found zero in the
Yes.
history, and after finding zero, the mathematic became much more better. Mathematic had a better position in the science, because without zero, calculating something was very difficult. And today, technology is also the technology. Tech is normally is Arabic word. Tech. This it means doing, making, and the many ways the Arabic language created many things, because even Turkish scientists, they learned Arabic language. Why? Because science and education could be better in Arabic language because of the word capacity.
Really?
Yes.
But most of terms and idioms from English, from
today.
Yes.
But what I'm talking about is
the
Golden
basics.
Age and the Central Asian scholars. They learned Persian and Arabic. In Turkish language, when we look at how many words are there in Turkish language, today 120,000, together with the Arabic words and also Persian words. When we take all the Persian and Arabic words out of this language, we only 8,000 words of Turkish language. In
Yes.
Turkish language, 8,000 words. They are all short words generally. At, et, it, ot, süt.
Yeah.
The very short words are Turkish, like Chinese a little bit.
Yes.
And but when we converted to Turks, Islam, they learned Arabic and Persian language for creating philosophic things, because many books were written in Arabic language those days.
Yes.
In Baghdad, for instance,
Yes.
there was huge library those days, and the Turkish students in the Central Asia, they went to Baghdad to have good education, and then they went back again to Central Asia.
Yes. But it's all over, yeah. It's in Baghdad. It's destroyed. All these libraries.
Unfortunately, the library was destroyed. There was also another center, historically, Alexandria in Egypt,
yeah.
in your country.
Yes.
One of the most important area for the civilization. Even today, Egypt is one of the best for creating philosophy and sciences, Islamic sciences, just because of those scientific heritage. Because there was Egyptian civilization in there. No one can deny this. There were pyramids, and the pyramids created thinking, way of thinking, and then they united together with Islamic sciences. And then Egypt created a wonderful role for Islam with Al-Azhar University today.
Yes.
You are educating many Muslim scholars, and they are going in some countries after having education.
It played a very important role.
Yeah, of course. They affected also Turkey, the Al-Azhar
Really?
University. Oh, I know. Because some Turkish scholars in Turkey, they went to Egypt to have education in there, Al-Azhar, and they came back from
Actually,
there.
till now.
They were not the same person. Yeah, really. Anyway, the Dar'ul Arqam, let's
so coming back to
again.
Dar'ul Arqam.
Dar'ul Arqam
Yes.
was the first Muslim primary school, or elementary school, but Prophet was sitting together with others like friends. There were only 40 people, and all 32 people were children, about between 15 or 18 years old kids.
Hazrat Ali.
Yeah, Ali, or
One of them.
Ammar bin Yasir,
Ammar bin
or
Yasir.
they were all young,
Usama ibn
young
Zayd.
boys, and they learned the religion from Prophet Muhammad in that house, and only some adults like Abu Bakr, and they were coming there, and that's why they were calling Prophet Muhammad. Some rich people were saying, "Oh Muhammad, we can follow you, but when we look at your followers, they are all poor kids," they were saying. And this was making Prophet Muhammad very sad. That's why a very long time he educated only few people in that area, in the house of Arqam. That is why Zayd bin Haris was one of the students of that school, college, let's say. He didn't go back to Yemen again.
He was from Yemen.
Yeah, he was from Yemen, and he didn't go back to Yemen because he told his father, "Oh father, the Prophet educated me in Dar'ul Arqam, and he gave a lot of effort for me, and he gave his time. I can't leave him. Sorry," he said.
Oh, Zayd ibn Haris, is this one Prophet Muhammad was about to adopt him?
There was no adoption because Quran,
no adoption in Islam, but
Quran refuses
this one.
adoption.
Yes.
Quran says he's not your son. This is what you say, or your society says. But I don't accept this, God says, because you can help a person, no problem, but you can't tell that he is my son. Because,
to take your name.
Biologically, he was not Prophet Muhammad's son. That was only the people were saying, they were saying.
Yes.
And anyway, Dar'ul Arqam was the first, let's say, kindergarten, also primary school, also lycée, high school, like this. But after that,
school.
The first 3 schools were Dar'ul Arqam. And the Prophet Muhammad was the teacher, and the equal teacher with others, because we say Abduhu and Rasuluhu. That means Abduhu means servant. Servant is as we say in Turkish kul, but in Arabic is abd. And he went to Medina. And
so that school, Dar'ul Arqam school,
that school. The Dar'ul Arqam didn't stay there, of course. The Dar'ul Arqam, the house of Arqam, moved to Medina from Mecca. And the new name of Dar'ul Arqam was the University of Sufa, Mektab Sufa. Maktab is a school in Arabic language.
Office, maybe.
But Sufa, Mektab Sufa became the University of Muslims. They learned much more new things about civilization. Why? The first verses, as you know, they were talking about spirit development. But in Dar'ul Arqam.
Yes.
But the teaching of Mektab Sufa was also teaching of the civilization.
Civilization, of course.
Exactly. Yes. Teaching how to live together with the Jews, because half of the city
will settle down in a new city. They have to.
Exactly. The half of the city was Jews. The Jews were living in that city.
How can we deal with them?
Exactly.
What our rules?
Exactly. This was bringing a new law and how it could be, and this kind of things were were learned from Wahi, from Quran.
Yes.
And then they learned and discussed this, how they are going to obey this, follow these rules outside of the university. They learned very well everything in there. But this kind of education system was good at the beginning and also in 250 years. But later on, unfortunately, Muslims, they stopped learning this kind of positive sciences. They, for instance, mathematics, physics, chemistry, this kind of geography or this kind of sciences were also Islamic normally in the first schools. But after that, they became not religious sciences. They didn't accept it. Mostly they accepted ilm ladin, hawas, jafir, this kind of things. Some sophist teachings entered inside of the universities. And this kind of maths, physics, this kind of things,
they separated from religious, do you mean?
Yeah, they were separated.
Yes.
So we can call this as early secularism. Because when you divide science as Islamic sciences or positive sciences like metaphysics sciences or physics sciences like maths or chemistry or geography, this kind of things, if you don't take together, you can't have scientific believers, or you can't have believing engineers
or
doctors. Yes. Your doctors will be atheist. Your imams will be out of mathematics or this kind of things. This is exactly what we are living now.
Exactly.
Just only because of this reason. So Muslims have to think mathematics is the science of God. Because when we look at the even p or p number 3.7 something 714, and this is the rate of circle and the ratio. When we look at that p, it's interesting. After 3 point, the numbers are going till the forever. Yes. When we look at those numbers, yours, mine, his, the birth times, our ID numbers of Turkish Republic or Egyptian ID numbers, everything, and the time of that or something is inside of that one. Circle and ratio.
Yes.
That also this must give us an idea about turning around of Kaaba, and our distance into the Kaaba is the eternity. We find eternity and the thinking very well, but we lost it.
Yes.
That is why we are living now, not golden age, but teenage. Unfortunately, because when we look at, it's really important point. We must read. After reading, we must understand. After understanding, we must follow it, practice it. Today, Muslims are not reading, even the Quran. They are reading, but they don't understand. In Turkey also, they read. They are very proud of reading Arabic Quran. This is not education. We must understand it exactly what it is writing inside.
Yes.
Today, especially in some Arabs in the Arabian Peninsula, they are not questioning what is Sirat. Some of them thinking that is a bridge. It's not a bridge. It's a street.
Yes, we have been
mentioned about that. The street of the Medina, telling us what to do or not to do.
Yes.
And
it's amazing how you make it all together, how you make it related to each other.
Yeah.
No one think about this, no one thinks this way nowadays, actually.
Then we can start this a new light. This can be Islamic illumination.
Yes.
Islamic illumination started with Dar'ul Arqam at the top of Safa Hill. We must exactly follow the education methods of Prophet Muhammad. I know this is very difficult because there is ego inside of the teachers. They after many years they got used to behaving students like their fathers or mothers, you know.
Yes.
But the teachers must be equal friend like.
Even in Prophet Muhammad's period, we used to say Sahaba. Sahaba in Arabic mean friends. Everyone saw
Exactly.
Prophet Muhammad, we called him Sahabi.
He also called them as friends.
A friend, even if they are not very closed.
Exactly.
You know.
And this is also telling us how important is having a good friend.
Yes.
Sometimes having a good friend is more important than a brother or sister. And the blood connection to each other, blood cannot connect each other very well because the heart is important. This can stop racism also.
That's
fascism,
right. Yes.
ultra-nationalism, that can be stopped by this kind of thinking. Because when we feel each other as equal, we must feel this, not only with the people, also animals. Because when we look at them, they are created from the Lord of the universe. We forgot this kind of education system. We lost our respect to those animals.
We forgot that we are human in the end.
Yeah,
we have to be humanity, to think humanity way.
Yeah, today's education system called them wild world.
Yes, that's
forest, wildlife.
Yes.
No, their life is not wild. Our life is wild in the cities. We can see 60 million people are living on American streets. Only 5% of people are taking 95% of income of the nation in the United States. So, where is violence? In our countries or in the forest? When we look at the forest, we don't see any animal killing more. When an animal is hungry, it goes and hunts only one animal. After eating that one, waits until it gets hungry again. Doesn't have a refrigerator. Doesn't think, let me make a refrigerator. I eat tomorrow.
Yes, that's right.
So we do this.
Yes.
But
we even have wars and battles with no reasons. We keep killing each other with no reasons, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
there were some wars in Africa just because of the separating nations, because of the shape of nose or ear, and then separating separating same nation in two pieces and making them fight again, and giving each one weapons and selling them weapons and watching their killings each other. This is imperialism, and unfortunately we must wake up and think about that, and we must learn our histories very well, and we mustn't make the same mistake again.
That's right.
History is important for learning the mistakes in the past.
Yes, that's
Not
right.
being proud, or my nation was the greatest in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Ottoman Empire became the biggest in the world. Not for that.
It's okay to say that we have a great history, we have a great civilization, but you have to do something.
Also, we had mistakes.
Yes, that's right. We have to learn from history.
Exactly.
That's why we have to read history. For example, in Egypt, it was one of the oldest civilization in the world, maybe the oldest.
Yeah.
But we have to do something. It's okay. We have pyramids. We have something good. We have to do something for the future.
Yes, our universities must be at least just like Harvard or Massachusetts. Why they are quality universities? Because there is there is an opportunity to discuss something with the teacher. You can tell the teacher something, you can ask, and he can tell you equally, same as Prophet Muhammad's time. But when we look at even today, Turkish universities, and some of them are not like this. When you want to have higher education, and when you write some thesis, you have to suffer of the ego of your the docent, dean.
In all Middle East countries, actually.
Yeah.
That's why when we go to, for example, America, Europa, even Japan, we have a great successful. We make success, yani.
That's right.
That's what
I lived in Holland about 3 years, and I could see, and I had chance to compare Turkey and Holland. And I lived in Kazakhstan about 2-3 years, and I had chance also comparing Kazakhstan and Turkey, from Central Asia to Turkey and from Western Europe to Turkey. When I was in Kazakhstan, I was thinking that Turkey was a very postmodern country, because Kazakhstan those days was not very developed country. And when I went to Holland this time, Turkey was just like a Middle Eastern, typical Middle Eastern country. They couldn't complete those days in 1990s, of course, I'm telling. Today, Turkey had much more progress about education, of course, but it's not enough. Not in my country, in Turkey, not in Egypt, Kazakhstan. Not in any other Islamic country. We must return discussions, but not arguments. Discussions are important.
Yes,
the sharing something, respecting each other's ideas, listening each other very much. It is very much important, and talking about something objectively, not subjectively. We must succeed to be objective, really. But it doesn't matter where you are, in what platform you're talking, when you are in a party or when you are in a jamaat. When you start just a little bit criticization to the president of that association or
leader,
jamaat
whatever.
Or leader, whatever, he takes position suddenly. He thinks that you are attacking him. No. Normally, I'm not attacking, but I'm just trying to have a nice position, better position for the association or for the party or for the jamaat. But that is why they can't break the barriers.
Yes.
They can't go further on. This is our problem.
Yes, that's right.
Our universities are not universal. Our universities are local, very imprimitive. So, of course, I'm not telling this for every university in Turkey or in some Muslim, but generally I'm talking.
We're talking generally. You have a general idea.
Yeah,
about
generally.
Yes.
We have good teachers, good professors, also good universities. Yes. But this must be more. Yes. Just like Golden Age. Yes. The information today, we live a dirty information age also just because of the Google. And the people are writing something there, Google tells you something, some informations, maybe right, maybe wrong. People are
that's
learning.
What we are going to talk about.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of unknown things, or maybe we know it, but in a wrongly way.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Prophet Muhammad's life, if you remember.
And the Quran also tells wonderful message about having information. Ayn al-Yaqin and Ilm al-Yaqin. It's a wonderful definition of the knowledge. Ilm al-Yaqin means, when we translate into English, learning by books, by reading, by listening. But Ayn al-Yaqin means learning by seeing, traveling, learning in that area. That is why we must read and travel together. And in Western countries, such as Holland or America, and the people are, you know, learning and also traveling very much. And 18-year-old boy can go every part of Europe or Northern America or India, speaking English and learning the things
languages
from there.
maybe.
When they come back their countries,
They transfer this
they
things.
transfer all the information into their country.
Yes.
And but when we look at Muslim countries, when they have money, they buy houses or cars, new cars, and the car is outside of the house, stays there, paying the money, the bank shares every month, about 500 lira or something, and no travel. The car waits there. After finishing 10 years later, the car is getting old to go anywhere. But we must travel first. Just last month, my dream was to go to Western European countries, driving, and I did it just because of this reason.
Yeah.
Because on the road we are learning.
Yes, I have something to tell you about this traveling by car or maybe walking.
Yeah.
Some people make these things in the world.
Or cycling. Cycling.
Yeah, cycling also.
Because this is the very good way to learn.
Yes.
The Hajj pilgrimage, when we look at the Islamic history, we developed very quickly those days because Muslims all around the world, just because of Hajj, they had to travel to do Mecca.
Yes.
While they are going that area, they were learning all the new things, and after that, after learning those things, and they were taking all these things back to their countries, and that is why Muslim countries those days having wonderful vision or this kind of development.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, dear viewers, unfortunately you are run out of time. Stay with us next week with a new topic about historical events and unknown historical events. Thank you for being with us today. See you next week, inshallah.